The school hallway echoed with the sound of hurried footsteps, the chatter of children, and the calm announcements of the morning routine. But within that ordinary rhythm of life, an extraordinary moment was about to unfold, one that no teacher, student, or officer present that day would ever forget. It began with a sudden sharp bark that cut through the air like a warning bell. A canine police dog, trained to sense danger and uncover truth, froze in his tracks, his nose lifted, his eyes locked, not on a bag, not on a locker, not on a stranger, but on a teacher. What happened next would unravel secrets buried in silence, ignite emotions too heavy to contain, and forever change the way everyone in that school looked at loyalty, justice, and the silent voice of animals. Before we dive deeper into this powerful and emotional story, I'd like to pause and ask you, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the unwavering loyalty of animals, then please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. Your support helps us bring more heart-touching stories to life. Stories that remind us of the beauty and courage hidden in unexpected places. The teacher in question was Ms. Carter, a woman admired by many for her calm presence and gentle way of handling students. To the children, she was the kind voice that helped them through math problems, the encouraging smile during spelling tests, and the patient ear for those who struggled at home. To her colleagues, she was efficient and reliable, but as the canine's growl deepened and his bark became more insistent, all eyes shifted toward her, and whispers rippled down the hall. The officer holding the leash looked uncertain. The dog, trained never to bark without reason, pulled hard toward Miss Carter. Her face stiffened, caught between confusion and fear, as the children gasped and gathered closer, their young eyes wide with shock. In that moment, the air grew heavier. For some, the thought of a teacher being a threat was unthinkable. For others, the sight of a canine barking meant only one thing: danger. The officer urged the children back, creating space between the dog and the teacher. Ms. Carter clutched the clipboard in her hand, her knuckles whitening as she tried to steady herself. But inside, her heart raced, not with guilt, but with the weight of a truth she had buried for years. The dog had sensed something she carried, something invisible to the human eye, but sharp as a blade to the nose of a loyal companion. The investigation that followed shocked everyone. But the story was not one of crime, drugs, or violence. It was far deeper, far more human. The canine had uncovered the hidden scars of a woman who had endured silent suffering for most of her life. When the officers approached her, questioning gently, they discovered what the children never knew. Miss Carter had been living under constant fear. Her estranged brother, a man with a violent past, had been stalking her for months. She had hidden it well, never letting her fear seep into the classroom, never letting her tears fall where little eyes could see. She carried with her a scent of stress, anxiety, and traces of the threatening letters she had received and tucked into her bag. Letters laced with the faintest residue of substances the dog had been trained to detect. The canine hadn't barked at a criminal act. It had barked at the pain, fear and danger surrounding a woman who had spent her life protecting children while quietly fighting to protect herself. The school staff stood in disbelief as the truth unraveled. The officer, at first stern, softened when he realized the gravity of what the dog had done. The canine had not exposed guilt. It had exposed a cry for help that Ms. Carter had never spoken aloud. As the investigation deepened, the school learned that her brother had been spotted near the campus more than once, lurking at the edge of the playground. He had even attempted to follow her home, leaving notes that grew darker each time. The children, oblivious until that day, suddenly realized their teacher's smiles had been hiding a world of fear. And yet, instead of shame or judgment, what followed was a tidal wave of support. The principal offered her protection, parents rallied around her, and the officer assigned patrols near her home. But most of all, it was the canine, this loyal, four-legged guardian, who had shattered the silence she carried and turned it into a chorus of voices determined to protect her. In the days that followed, Ms. Carter's bond with the K9 grew stronger. She would visit the officer's unit, kneeling down to stroke the dog's head, whispering thanks with tears in her eyes. The children, too, began to see the dog not as a frightening figure, but as a hero. Drawings appeared on the classroom walls, sketches of the dog wearing a superhero cape, standing beside their beloved teacher. They had witnessed something extraordinary, the moment an animal gave voice to human suffering, and in doing so, restored hope to someone they loved. Miss Carter began to open up about her struggles. She shared with her colleagues and the school counselor the burden she had carried alone. For years, she had believed silence was her only shield, but the K9's bark had torn that wall apart. In her vulnerability, she found strength. Her students noticed the change too. Her laughter returned brighter and fuller, her eyes less shadowed by fear. She even began using her own story, carefully shaped for young minds, to teach about bravery, resilience, and the importance of speaking out when something feels wrong. But the turning point came one evening when Ms. Carter stood outside the school after dismissal. The officer and his K9 had returned for a routine check. She bent down, looking into the dog's steady eyes, and whispered, "You saved me." In that quiet moment, with the golden sunlight pouring through the windows and the distant laughter of children echoing across the playground, it was clear this dog had not only exposed a hidden truth, but had rewritten the story of a life. Viewers, if this story has touched your heart as much as it has touched mine while telling it, I humbly ask you to like this video, share it with someone who might need hope, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. These stories remind us that even in our darkest battles, light can break through in the most unexpected ways, sometimes through the bark of a loyal friend. Special request to comment. Tell us in the comments below, do you believe dogs have a sixth sense for human emotions? Share your stories of how an animal has protected, healed, or saved you in ways no one else could. And so, the tale of a barking K9 and a brave teacher became more than just an incident in a school hallway. It became a testament to the power of loyalty, the courage to face fear, and the silent, powerful bond between humans and animals that can change lives forever.